Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. It's episode 114 for all of you smooth jazz listeners out there. And of course, I can't do this episode alone. I have to have my two cohorts here on either side of me. To my left is John Tracy. To my right is Mr. Steve Murray. And I am, of course, Matt Craig. We are all happy you are with us today. And, talking about misinformation, just to kick it off here, someone on this podcast had a memory flash. Well, maybe didn't quite lapse is probably the right word, yes. And not going to blame it on him, of course, because it happened it happened 32 years ago. I mean, it was a while back.
It doesn't matter how long ago it was or how old he was. He lied to the people.
He did.
He needs to apologize.
Yes,
did.
and I'm apologizing. I'm sorry, because I don't even know how old I was at that time. 32 years ago. I probably wasn't watching the game.
Probably not, no.
So I will take this time to apologize first, but then blame, at the exact same time, all people from WIP who trumped that team up as something that could have been something, or that game, even.
Yeah.
G-Cobb, I'm coming after you. That game was something that it actually wasn't after Matt did all the research. We probably shouldn't even have talked about it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's my apology. Take that, Angelo Cataldi.
We're referring, of course, to Calvin Williams. John mistakenly thinking that he caught, 30 balls, I guess, during the entire game with 200 yards. He only caught one pass for 13 yards the entire game.
Hey, it was the first down.
It was the first down, exactly.
Unless it was 3rd and 20.
And we also found out if Fred Barnett would have dropped that ball, that would have been the longest pass completed in that game.
Exactly right. So, gents, as we kind of move on, as I disconnect all over the place over here.
There you go.
Hold on.
Apologize.
Yes.
There we go.
Apologize, Matt, apologize for that.
Yeah, seriously. For my complete disconnection over here. My God. Anyway. How was that drink? Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Excellent.
Okay. See the AM. How about that?
Just so everyone knows, this is what pre-production looks like.
It's nothing but laughter and laughs all over the place. It's great. Well, Steve, I understand you have both a fun fact for us and your over 40 rant. So why don't you go ahead and take the floor there, bud?
Well, because John is a dirty, rotten liar, this has passed to me. And I just so happened to hear an interesting fact yesterday about the cartoons we all used to watch back in the 80s and 90s.
There you go.
And it turns out that when the bad guy would yell, destroy him, or destroy them, or destroy her at our heroes, it wasn't just because they were being clever in their word choice. It's because the word kill was banned by the censors. And so the animators had to come up with something better to get around that limitation. Ironically, to me, destroy them sounds even worse than kill them.
Yeah.
Killing is bad, but destroying, it's like you're not only going to be killed, but you're going to be decimated into thousands of little tiny pieces. It also sounds cooler too.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a big bad, I don't know, General Zod, kill him? No, it's destroy him. I'm so powerful, destroy him. So there's your fun fact. And now,
there you go.
Speaking of cartoons and TV, I'll go to my over 40 rant, which is,
there you go.
Why does it seem like every single channel on television has coordinated their commercials to occur at exactly the same time?
I would blame that on your TikTok overlords for one thing, and also state-run media. It's a combination of those two things.
John, that sounds like he's trying to transition to something. I'm not quite sure what it is.
I'm not sure. What's on the docket for with the first topic here?
I completed my rant. My rant is
Well,
not
yeah.
complete.
I mean, we got to finish the rant here.
Yeah, Matt, trying to push me along. Move it along, son. Move it along. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do Angelo Cataldi giant hands in your face. How's that?
Our YouTube overlords will only push us out for an hour, so hurry up.
So my point is, I hate watching commercials. So when I'm watching a show and a commercial comes on, I will try to flip a channel to see what else is on, because usually there are at least two things that will hold my interest for more than 10 seconds. But it seems like every time I change the channel, there's a commercial on that channel. So it overlaps, and I feel like there's a conspiracy going on here, and the FCC
Correct. I think
should
so,
do some
yeah.
antitrust head busting.
There you
It's all
go.
bullshit.
Maybe we'll get Fauci to do that now that he's retired from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
I don't want him anywhere near my television.
Yeah, please no.
Well, he could vaccinate the television. You know, I mean, he could probably do something like that. I don't
I
know.
do hope that Rand Paul will pull the leader of the FCC just to yell at him, because I need shit to do between 2 and 5 afternoon, because I love a good Rand Paul just yelling. It's great.
It's a great rant.
I
Absolutely.
never would have
Feels
taken
like he's
John
going
for a
to-
C-SPAN watcher.
He's
Oh,
totally,
John's a definite C-SPAN.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
There you go. It certainly beats like all the sound bites that come out of Capitol
The amount of
Hill.
ridiculousness you can see in a hearing
Oh.
it's great. It's
Phenomenal.
people watching it. It's best.
Exactly right. Oh my God.
This is government.
All right.
It's not supposed to be entertaining.
That's the best part about it. They don't
That
need
is the
for this
best
to happen.
They're entertaining. They're entertaining instead of governing. That's the problem.
They don't mean to.
Exactly.
They're not trying to entertain at all.
I mean, you could come up with all sorts of drinking games, I'm sure, watching C-SPAN of like, the different types of phrases they use and, depending on the subject. I'm sure you could probably do that. You have an over-under. Who's saying what? How many different times?
Oh, I got one. What about when Ted Cruz is on, and we could do the amount of times someone put a big Post-it note thing, a big poster board behind him,
big poster
so
board?
he can
Yeah.
so he can do the point as he's yelling at someone.
Look how horrible this is.
And all it is what's in front of him just blown up. There's no good Photoshop in there where they made an image and had an arrow or did a program that, a PowerPoint presentation. It's just blown up newspaper articles stuck with tape to the side of the poster board.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Go ahead, yeah.
Those are expensive. Those
I
poster board
was
blow-ups,
going to ask. Yeah,
they are
they're-
expensive. So
Are they
he's
really?
burning a lot of your money, John, down there.
I know.
Printing
I
those
know.
poster boards.
That's amazing. I would have never guessed. I mean, I was always curious because, like, back in the day, they were nothing. Like maybe, I guess like a couple bucks. You get like a 8x or whatever. However big a poster board is. But I was wondering if it was like if they were more expensive nowadays than they've ever been.
Having done some for trials, yes, they are much
There you go.
more expensive than they probably ought to be.
Yeah.
Let's just put it
Well, it's because they
There you
have
go.
a niche. They have like
True.
Well, they got
you need them, you're going to pay for them.
exactly. Yeah, exactly right. All right, gents. Well, I mean, this is a little bit of a serious transition, serious topic here. Topic 1 to kick off episode 114 of Two Noobs, and I figured we kind of need to talk about this because it is in the world on the other side of a huge ocean. Thank the Lord God. But skynews.com.au, so this is Australian news source. Xi Jinping stepped down. Chinese protesters call for President Xi to resign after a deadly high-rise inferno in Urukumi locked down apartment block. So this is apparently, you read this article, gents, and China is back to their old nefarious ways of trying to eliminate COVID. Zero COVID policy.
What do you mean back to?
Good luck
Who
with
said, who said they ever left?
yeah, exactly. That's a good
They did
point.
have
I was
that
just gonna
one
say, well, they
month where
did it
everybody
before.
was dancing about 2 weeks after COVID in Wuhan.
Yeah, well.
Everybody was dancing at a pool party or something, and then that went away quickly.
Yeah, that went away very quickly. But protesters have taken to the streets of China after demanding that President Xi Jinping resign. Oh boy, over his COVID zero
gonna
policy. Yeah, that's not going to happen. In a strikingly rare show of defiance, multiple demonstrations were held across the nations over the weekend. This was last weekend, of course, sparked by a fatal fire in the northwest city of Ukumi. Urumqi. Good luck on pronouncing that, gentlemen, but that's how I'm giving it a best shot.
I'll take your word
10
for it.
people died. 9 were injured in the blaze on last Thursday, with residents reportedly trapped inside their apartment under China's draconian lockdown measures. Firefighters were unable to reach the victims in time. Under the world's
Unacceptable.
most heavy... Completely spot on, John. Thank you for saying that. Under the world's most heavy-handed pandemic approach, Chinese cities can be cut off at a moment's notice. Yikes. And those who test positive are often forced into prison, like camps, alongside their close contacts. Double yikes. And it goes on basically that Shanghai has been become the center of the growing movement, calling for Xi Jinping to step down. Candlelight vigil was held in the early hours of Sunday for the fire victims, until it quickly turned into a huge protest. And of course, demonstrators were saying, "Xi Jinping, step down," and apologize was another chant that they were using. University students appear to be leading the protest movement, with students demonstrating across dozens of campuses. So the youth, gentlemen, are doing this. John, go to you first on this. Your reaction towards hearing this news?
It's scary, because this is pure. This is not even like the tomfoolery that Russia plays around with, where they're kind of half-witted communists. This dude's full on. Like this guy believes the hype. This go two ways. He could step down, or tanks could hit the street. I just hope and pray that it works out for the people of China, not the idiot leader that is obviously taking. It's not COVID. He's taking advantage of a situation. I've seen the propaganda videos. They're incredibly stupid. It looks like a third grader made them. They have the scan test, and it goes red if you've got COVID. It goes green if you don't, and you're immediately you're put on a bus. They put these out so people to warn the people of China. This is what you have to do once you go to a building and this happens. Like, everybody is scanned. Everybody is. It's far more advanced than what we had to deal with back in 2020. Far more. They are heavily. Well, their military is their who's controlling all this.
No question. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that, and I agree in that. You don't want to see tanks on the street ever again, but it certainly will lean that way, given their, let's just say, their history, recent history, more than anything else. So yeah, praying for the people of China for sure. Steve, your thoughts on all of this? Your reaction? What do you have?
John's right. This is authoritarianism.
Yeah,
it's pinnacle. I mean, it's based on stupidity, first of all, because zero COVID is a ridiculous notion, particularly when it originated in your country. You're not going to get rid of it by locking everybody away, and you're only going to do more harm than good. This is, we complain here about the lockdowns and in Canada and all that. This is what happens when you take it as far as some people, thought it should be taken. And this is the result of it. You get disasters like you have a fire in an apartment building and people can't get out because of stupid regulations to try and address a disease that at this point is not the most pressing issue in the world anymore.
Exactly. Great point.
It makes zero sense to have this type of policy, and then to enforce it the way they do is that's just China. I mean, you're referencing Tiananmen Square without saying it, but this is that all over again. That's only a year. That's only a year before the Fred Barnett catch. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I'm looking at this whole thing, and I think I was reading somewhere that they were trying to do all sorts of ridiculous countermeasures, like spraying lime all over the place to kill. Like if they find like an apartment that has been infected with COVID, they will go in there and they'll spray like lime all over the place in effect to try and dampen that. Well, that's like such a huge environmental, like disastrous thing to do. Lime is not exactly a.
Do you remember early on in the pandemic? Like I think before it even happened here, they had like trucks going down the street and spraying. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just Lysol. Who knows? In the air.
Yeah.
Like that makes any sense?
No. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. And then, Steve, to your point, you're exactly. I mean, the zero COVID policy is like good luck with that. That's just not going to work. I mean, the people are going to get sick all the time. And to be able to try and enforce something like that on an entire population of like over, I don't know, last count how many people, it's over 1 billion people that live in that country. I can't even imagine like living trying to live in a country with a government with a zero whatever fill in the blank policy.
Yeah, it could be
That's
anything.
ridiculous.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah. Zero common cold policy. I mean, come on. Or zero flu policy. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And another funny thing about this is that I was reading somewhere else, as corrupt an organization as FIFA is, they're staging the World Cup actually may have triggered some of this because people in China who, we talked about Russia before, how it's like you're being force-fed CNN or Fox News, and that's the only television you get ever. I mean, it's the same thing in China, state-run media. But people are catching the World Cup on air, and as much as they're trying to avoid shots of the stands, they're seeing fans in the stands who are shoulder to shoulder, no masks, and they're like, how come we can't do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's no more evident, really. I was watching, before we recorded, of course, guys, I was telling you that I was watching the Netherlands unfortunately knock out the United States in the round of 16. And a majority, of course, was focused on the field. You only saw a few sections of, people in the stands. And when you did, nobody's wearing a mask. No one's sitting there kind of going like, oh, okay, I'm going to, none of that type of stuff. None of it.
The article I read said that the state-run media in China, with their World Cup coverage, it was like 100% focused on the players
on the
because
field.
they didn't want you to get a look at the stands, but it's sort of inevitable. And for the people of China to realize that outside of China things are semi back to normal, and yet not for them. Hopefully, it certainly seems like that's starting to be a wake up call for them. That they're getting lied to on a daily basis.
Yeah, exactly. One can only hope too that maybe this will inspire the Chinese people to rise up a little bit and.
It is working. It is working from that article. It is working as of this morning. The government is pulling back a tiny bit, not a lot, but I mean, of course, at least you're seeing some give. Let's hope that. I mean, history says there won't be any give, but we could just hope and pray that it's bending just a little. So hopefully, just keep the people in our thoughts and prayers, and they'll get out of this, and maybe that dude will get a big shut the fuck up because he needs to.
No question.
We're so getting community guidelines on TikTok this week.
Oh, totally. Totally. Someone's going straight up.
Love it.
After the episode.
All right, gents. Well, here we go. A little bit more lighthearted news now from the second topic of Two Noobs. And all three of us, of course, huge Batman fans. All three of us, of course, huge movie fans. Well, Jalopink.com JALOPNIK.com. Guys, you can buy the Tim Burton Batmobile. The only thing is, it's $1.5 million. And that, I mean, it's a beautiful looking car. We're going to throw up a couple of photos here on screen of this absolutely gorgeous car. The only downside is it goes to a top speed of 30 miles an hour.
That's probably pushing it too.
Yeah. So you're not exactly going to be going on the Pennsylvania Turnpike or flooring it outside of I-5 in Dallas. John, is that the biggest
there's a bunch of
highway near you? But yeah, about down around there. But it's currently listed on consignment by Classic Auto Mall in New Jersey for $1.5 million. Yeah, if you do purchase the Batmobile, don't expect it to drive it very much, possibly at all. The electric powertrain is power enough to go 25 or maybe 30 miles per hour, so no highway cruising for you. The seller also says the batteries haven't...
Hear that, Elon Musk? Tim Burton was years ahead of you on electric car design. His looks cooler, too.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. The seller
don't talk
also
to Elon
says...
Musk. He's going to come out with the pigeon mobile, and it's going to look like the Twitter logo.
Love it. The seller also says the batteries haven't been charged since 1993.
You better check the contacts for battery acid leaking.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, exactly. Due to that issue, Classic Auto Mall claims they didn't have the opportunity to drive the car since they, quote, didn't want to risk a failure or fire, end quote. I guess that would make sense. You don't want to give it a shot there. Yeah.
Charging $1.5 million, you probably don't want to damage the goods.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to take this out on a test drive anytime soon. That's for sure. Maybe the best option, this is from the article, maybe the best option is to pay someone to swap in the powertrain from a Nissan Leaf. Sure, a Tesla swap will give you more power, but it's a movie prop. So crashing safely is likely non-existent. It also doesn't
remember Batman jumping in the Batmobile and going, buckle up, to Vicky Vale.
Yeah.
No.
That was the cutscene.
I don't see that either. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was cut. Yeah, exactly. It also doesn't come. Also doesn't come with a title, so the places you could legally drive it are going to be limited. My understanding too is that there is no pop-up machine gun on the front, unfortunately.
Oh,
so unfortunately,
hook
or the grappling hook. I didn't see that either.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, but unlike the McLaren F1, the Batmobile is real, or like it, I should say, the Batmobile is rear-wheel drive, seats 3, which shocked us in pre-production. We were like, 3? So we're going to flash up a photo specifically of that. You can see that there is a tiny little section in the back where there is room for, we think, a stunt driver who I think, guys, was probably lying on maybe going like this. I don't know how you get back in there. I mean,
the comment section said that the stunt driver drove the vehicle while looking through one of the air vents. I have not confirmed.
Gosh, that sounds real safe.
I have not confirmed if that's the actual truth, but dude seemed like he knew a lot about the Batmobile in the comment section, so I'm going with him.
That's funny.
Given that its top speed and probably was never achieved was 30 miles an hour, I guess that would be okay.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to worry about it running off at 90 miles an hour and going off an embankment or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It might fall off the curb at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Unlike the F1, though, the Batmobile also comes with a flamethrower that is allegedly still functional. So out the engine in the back there.
So I wonder because there's one of the pictures when you actually go to the site that's actually selling it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the pictures shows the passenger side, the floor portion, like where Vicky Vale was sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two what look like propane tanks.
Yes.
Propane and propane accessories. On the floor, hooked up to some compression paraphernalia and with a pipe. I wonder if that has anything to do with the flamethrower.
Maybe.
Because when we talked in pre-production, we assumed the flamethrower was the thing that shoots out the back to make
Yeah.
it look like it's actually, going.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And lights that clown on fire in Batman Returns.
Exactly. Makes me wonder too, gents, like if you were to replace that, I mean, that would be a complete overhaul of the entire drivetrain and the engine. If you're going to convert it away from an electric vehicle into like a gasoline powered engine.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that would be, you're looking
That's
for, I don't
expensive.
know how much it would, that would be expensive. Yeah, exactly. That would be Doc. Doc would probably know us for sure. We've had on the podcast before with his classic cars. But
I
yeah.
wonder, because I don't see any pictures with the hood up. I wonder where the engine is and how you get to it.
There was no engine when I built it back there. I will say that.
Yeah.
There was no said engine back there.
Well,
It was
it's a
basically
Lego
just all
set.
Lego blocks. Yeah, of course. But yeah. I mean, what do you think? Would you guys, if you had this, if you had the money saved up, let's just say, and you have $1.5 million, Steve, would you consider buying this car? That would be my question.
Let me put it this way: if I had $1.5 million to just throw around,
Mm-hmm.
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Batman is my favorite movie. I would, I would kill to have something like this, and then I would pay to be able to drive it in like the local 4th of July parade, because
There you go.
that would get the
Absolutely.
biggest
Absolutely.
gawks of anything.
Yeah.
If it was,
absolutely.
if I had $1.5 million in life savings, no, I would certainly not. Do that.
Hell no.
But, to your point, if I had the $1.5 million to throw around, I would buy it, and then I would throw another bunch of money into it to make it street legal.
Yeah.
To the extent I could. I don't know like how wide this thing is, if it could
Yeah.
fit in a normal size lane.
Yeah.
But I would certainly convert it to an engine that would let me go faster than 30 miles an hour.
There you go.
I'd also find a place to install a license plate, because that is not apparent from any of these pictures.
No, I
No.
haven't never find one yet.
And that would be probably I don't know, you want to say if you want to ruin it, but that would certainly be like an eyesore. You know, you're seeing like this Batmobile, and then all of a sudden you got this Pennsylvania license plate out there. It's like, oh gosh, you know, it's so gaudy.
What
At least
like
in
a,
Pennsylvania,
go-
you can just put it on the back. You don't have to do like the Nazis in New Jersey and put it on the front too.
Front.
Texas too. Texas, you have to put it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, front and back. What would
Johnny?
Michael Keaton's vanity license plate be on the Batmobile? That's my question.
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. That's too.
Because you know
something or
he'd
other.
have
Yeah.
a vanity plate. It wouldn't be just a bunch of numbers and letters. He would have something spelled out.
It's gotta, yeah, something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Now, Matt, you might know
Mhm.
this occurred to me last night after we talked about this initially. Wasn't there an issue with like fitting him in the Batmobile because his ears were too high for
Yes.
the cockpit or something?
Yeah, initially.
How did that end up getting resolved? Is that fixed
I
in this Batmobile version here?
I think it is, because I think what they ended up having to do, if memory serves me right, they ended up having to just raise it just a little bit, and then I think either shave just a little bit of his ears down, I think, in order for the cockpit door to slide across and then down. So, yeah. I mean, that was a huge concern, because I remember telling you guys, too, when they were building the Batmobile, they were building it basically as you would a normal car, and then it was literally like, well, okay, how do we put the doors in? Oh, crap, we forgot.
Yeah.
We forgot to put the doors in, which I mean, and it's unbelievable. And it's like, well, okay, well, let's just make a cockpit door, and that's how they came up with the sliding cockpit door, and it was iconic. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is great. It was. I remember when that came out in '89.
I can't picture this with a door.
Yeah,
No,
You know,
no,
that
it
would look
make it
stupid.
sense. Yeah.
actually.
it would. Yeah. Johnny, same question to you. If you had, let's just say, $1.5 million saved up, or you know, you won the lottery and you have, you know, you've got it, would you go out and you buy the Batmobile here? Would
Hell
you
no.
give Classic Automall a car? No.
No. I'm not of that life. No. I wouldn't know what to do with it, first of all. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
look at
Yeah, that's a
Batmobile. Like, this is not me. That's not how. This is not me. It's cool,
I was
though.
just gonna say.
I would absolutely,
Yeah.
if Steve bought it, I would definitely come over every couple weeks and be like, "Can I see the inside again? That's kind of cool. Let me take some pictures."
Are you kidding? I'd be there every day. I'd be annoying him every single day.
I'll give you a ride in it. Come on.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. Yeah. I think if I had a garage, no question, I would buy it. But since I live in the condos right now in an apartment complex and a shared parking,
Right.
the chances of that not,
Be hard to put.
I'd have to cover that thing up. Yeah, I'd have
would-
to cover that thing up. Yeah.
I'd have to extend my garage. I would think. I don't know what the scale of this thing is, but I'm sure I would have to extend the length of my
It
garage.
seems
to be able to fit
longer.
it.
It seems longer.
It
than,
sure does.
than the average
Yeah.
long car. It definitely
Yeah.
seems longer.
I was just going to
This-
say, like, if there was any sort of stats on it, like right now.
Oh yeah.
Let me pull that up here. Doesn't look like it here. That's amazing. It's
Yeah, I
offered
don't
for
see it.
consignment. That is hilarious.
It's in their showroom in Morgantown, PA. Though I could
There
drive
you
there
go.
in an hour.
Oh, man alive. If you're going, I'm going. So there you go.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's
They probably
close.
don't want non-buying gawkers looking at it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Interior. A press of a button and the fighter cockpit style canopy slides forward to allow access.
Beauty.
That's awesome. See, that right there that's worth getting into the car. I mean, that right there would just be unbelievable.
If it's electric, though, it's not going to sound like it did in the movie.
No.
Yeah. No, not at all.
So,
The kiss
Steve, when
theory-
you
this
drive
is
it,
for the-
that'll jump out he'll hang out the side of it, making all the sounds for you.
You know what? It occurs to me also, if it's rear-wheel drive and it's that long, it's going to handle like a friggin' boat.
Oh,
my
yeah.
God.
Oh, you're not.
Oh,
Gonna,
it's
yeah, that's, you're not going to stay in the lane too easily when you're trying to stay in the right lane to make a turn.
I need the grappling hook to make a turn now that I look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
By far,
Yes.
though, gentlemen, the best Batmobile.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah,
question.
and with all due respect to like the '66 Batmobile, the Batman television series, that was a great car. We're not counting the Schumacher movies, and the Tumbler and all and the new one that came out. This one's the best. I mean, there hasn't been any like it since. The one thing I will say about the drivetrain here, the drivetrain consists of a battery-powered 48-volt system, complete with a kill switch hidden within the driver's side rear wing fin, and could be flipped by a film crew member should any issues arise during the stunt show. How about that?
Ooh,
So they had a kill safe on this thing.
that's another question. Does it come with the shielding for when it's not in use?
You see?
You're talking an extra million for that add-on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I want it to stop when I say stop.
Stop. Yeah, you got to have Vicky Vale scream. Ah! You know, that kind of deal. Yeah. Great car.
I think John weighs a little more than 108.
Yeah, a little bit.
Let's see you get out of this one, Matt. Transition.
Well, I was just going to say, you hit the record button to record the third topic, you know, and it's like that countdown takes forever. It's like 5,
Yeah, it does.
4, 3. It's like hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Hurry up,
But
I
anyway,
gotta pee.
I know, seriously. But I'm holding it in. Third topic, gentlemen, and this one definitely fits the weird file. CNN Business article here we found this week. A Florida woman is suing Kraft for $5 million. Okay.
Not itself weird.
Not itself weird, but here's the weird part. Saying Velveeta microwave mac and cheese takes longer to make than advertised. This warrants a $5 million lawsuit, gentlemen. The label on a cup of Velveeta microwavable mac and cheese says the meal only takes 3.5 minutes to prepare. But a Florida woman says this is false, and she's suing the manufacturer for $5 million. It is part of a proposed $5 million class action lawsuit against Kraft Heinz Foods Company, alleging the foods producer's Velveeta shells and cheese takes longer than advertised to prepare. Attorneys filed a complaint, of course. Lawsuit claims the packaging on the microwavable single-serve cups of mac and cheese says it will be ready in 3.5 minutes is false and misleading. Dun, dun, dun. Product's instructions say to microwave the cup for 3.5 minutes. The attorneys argue this number doesn't account for the other 4 steps required to prepare the pasta. Dun, dun, dun. Removing the lid and sauce pouch, adding water, microwaving, stirring. Those are the additional steps. These steps mean it's impossible for the mac and cheese to be ready in just 3.5 minutes, according to the complaint. Heinz Food Company dismissed the lawsuit as frivolous.
We are aware of the frivolous lawsuit and will strongly defend against the allegations in the complaint.
The spokesperson said. Not annoying, I know. I know.
I was going to say, the assholes here, why are they getting the treatment?
I just say that because every spokesperson says that, so it's annoying that they all have to say it. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Ramirez's lawyers argue that the company sells the product at a substantial price premium, while using its misleading marketing in ready in 3.5 minutes, which instantly catches the eye of all reasonable customers. End quote. Steve is a patent lawyer, of course. He doesn't deal in frivolous lawsuits. One would hope. Your thoughts?
Don't listen to that nervous laughter. Well, did I miss? Wasn't there a part of the article that said, or at least suggested, that she would not have purchased this microwavable mac and cheese, but for the fact that it said it would take 3.5 minutes to prepare? Because, God forbid, she takes the 4.5 minutes it probably actually takes to do all of the steps.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had, maybe not this particular brand, but I've had the ready-made mac and cheese.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the box stuff. I agree.
Yeah.
But in a pinch, it works.
Yeah.
First of all, I never microwave it for the full time either.
Yeah.
Because I like my noodles al dente. And if you leave it in for 3.5 minutes, they kind of get on the mushy side. So actually, if you microwave it for 3, it may be possible to do it in 3.5 minutes. Just saying. But the fact that she claims she's entitled to $5 million because she bought a $2.79 piece of I don't even know what to call it.
Garbage
food.
And
that she would not otherwise have if she knew it took an extra 45 seconds to do the other 3 steps you need to complete it. It's laughable.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, exactly. Now,
time is money,
gentlemen. Exactly. Now, this brings to mind, gentlemen. I have a kind of an interesting Lean Six Sigma perspective on this, meaning that I love process improvement. Now, it's one of my.
Explain to us, the listener, and me, because I have no idea what the frig you're talking about.
Absolutely.
What is Lean Six? Or Lean, whatever the hell you called it.
Yeah, so it's 2 parts. There's a lean part, and then there's a Six Sigma part. The idea being...
So it's a diet.
Well, not quite, yeah. Lean is basically how much waste can you get rid of, basically, in a particular process. In order to make things smooth and efficient, you want to be able to remove any sort of problems that come up in a particular process. So Lean basically addresses that, removes that from any process, calls that waste. We're not doing this anymore. We're going to move on. It was invented back in in Toyota, basically, that it's learned throughout that. They implement Lean a lot. Six Sigma.
So just so I can understand. So what you really mean is Lean just means trim out all of the unnecessary processes or components or whatever that don't actually need to be. Okay.
Exactly.
All right,
Six Sigma comes in, and that is on the stats side of things. So if you think about nothing is ever going to be perfect. There are going to be some errors. But if you can think of it like when you pull a car into a garage, every single time you pull in, right, you don't hit the sides, obviously. So you have a border. So you have the car that fits right in. That's Six Sigma, essentially. So essentially, like it comes in every single time. So it's like if you come in on a curve, if you come in straight, you're always going to hit that particular angle. Every once in a while, you may be dinging, the side of which means you're a bad driver. But in any case, the Six Sigma comes in the fact that you're statistically looking at a particular process from start to finish. You're calculating any sort of errors that come in, and if you hit within a Six Sigma of the standard deviation, essentially, you're good. That is considered to be a gold process in process improvement, basically. So the Lean Six Sigma is you're eliminating waste and you're creating a process where it's repeatable and reliable every single time.
Repeatable within a tolerance.
Exactly. Now, all that being said, with this
we're going to apply this to mac and cheese.
Who leads to the mac and cheese, right? You're okay. The packaging says 3.5 minutes, but the issue is start to finish. So, okay, is she timing herself? Is she taking it longer than 5 minutes? Is she, or are there going to be times where it's coming in at 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes? She has to be very, very specific. This lawsuit you can't just throw out $5 million and just say, this packaging is wrong. If she is consistently going over 6 minutes, 7 minutes every single time, that's a problem. Maybe with the user more than likely, and I think it is, to be perfectly honest with you.
I would agree.
It's a frivolous lawsuit. But think about it. She's doing that process over and over and over and over again. If it's adding up, that's an issue. And I can see where, from that kind of a perspective, if you're always off 3.5 minutes, it can get annoying. And you're like, this packaging is false. That's the most blatant false advertising I've ever seen. I'm trying to do auto. That kind of deal from The Simpsons. But long story short, I think this is a frivolous lawsuit, period. 100%. There's no way. Because you can always improve upon yourself and, that kind of deal. And, it's ridiculous.
I wish I had the foresight to purchase one ahead of time. We could have done like a live demonstration to see how long it took me to do it.
Yeah.
We totally dropped
Johnny,
the ball.
What do you think about all of this? This whole nonsense of this. What do you think?
It's life. This happens all the time. I hope it's recorded when it gets to the judge and they present their cases. I want the judges to be, you got to be bleeping kidding me, and just throw it out. That would be great.
And just toss it. Yeah. I think that would be great. That'd be like, it would be done in like maybe, I don't know, how long would that take, Steve, in like in a court setting? Would that be like 10, 15 minutes?
I would have a hard time believing this is going to be, there's usually several instances in a case, in a sequence, where you could file something to have the judge dismiss it. One is right away, like after the complaint's filed. I would have a hard time believing it. This is enough probably to get you over that. Because if the instructions say microwave it for 3.5 minutes, ready in 3.5 minutes, there's enough there to say, all right, at least this does not appear to be accurate. But there's also what we call the summary judgment stage, which comes after a bit of discovery has happened and you don't have the evidence to back up. Like, for example, why is this case worth $5 million?
That's a good question.
And Kraft goes, they haven't produced any evidence to show it's worth $5 million. And the judge goes, yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll leave you with these quotes, gentlemen, and I'll do it in my Craig Matthews voice here. Ramirez, the person that's raising this lawsuit, quote,
is like many consumers who seek to stretch their money as far as possible when buying groceries.
But because of the time claim, she, quote,
paid more for the product than she would have paid for and would not have purchased it or paid less had she known the truth.
There you go.
That's what I was talking about earlier. That was the quote.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's standing in the mac and cheese aisle.
Yeah.
And she says, all right, because Kraft one says ready in 3.5 minutes, and I have a sneaky suspicion the other brands say something very similar.
Yeah.
So she's going to pay a premium. So she's going to pay the extra 30 cents to buy the Kraft version. Actually, the more I think about it, there's a Annie's is a brand that makes organic stuff. Mac and cheese is one of the things they do.
Okay.
I would be willing to bet the Annie's is probably more expensive than the Kraft.
Yeah,
So
it is.
she's probably not even buying the most expensive product that she could in that particular section.
Yeah.
So this is. Now you see why I brought this article to your attention. It's
Exactly right. Exactly.
the more I think about it.
What transition thing are you talking about, man?
Speaking of cheese, let's move on to the Flyers.
Yeah, exactly. Top at 4. Go ahead, Steve. What do you got?
Velveeta.
Velveeta cheese, baby.
False advertising.
But yeah. Let's do Chuck Fletcher for false advertising. How's
Yes.
that?
Oh,
Aggressive
yeah.
retool
I'll
I'll
match.
take $5 million from Chuck Fletcher.
Oh, heck yeah. Aggressive retool my ass. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Good Lord
Right.
almighty.
Oh, superstar forward on the market? Nah.
Nah. We don't need one of those guys. Nah.
All right,
We'll
but to
just
make
put
this
him
feel
and say,
better,
liar, liar, pants on fire.
to make us feel better, we're continuing our series of Philadelphia all-time teams, at least from the last 40 years. This week, because John said it was so, we are doing the
Yeah,
Flyers.
it's my fault.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
So the qualifications to be on this list are the same as we did for the 64-man Best Philly Athlete Tournament. You had to be in the city for 3 or more years, put up good stats, be a fan, favorite, all that jazz. And the player you get, because I always mention this too late, the player you get when you select them is like prime player from that Philadelphia team. So if you take Roy Halladay, it's 2010 Roy Halladay, not 2013 arm falling out of the socket Roy Halladay. Or Toronto Blue Jay Roy Halladay.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that said, we're doing the Flyers this week. So we're going to do a standard team bench. So we got 4 lines of offense, 3 lines of D, and a starting goalie and a backup goalie. We're not doing 7 defensemen and 11 forwards. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
And at John, I think this was John's suggestion, we're also going to pick a coach.
Love
So that'll be
Yeah.
fun. We learned something very interesting about Flyers coaches for the last 40 years. We'll bring that up
Yes.
as we finally pick our coach for that.
That's a good point.
So as we discussed in the pre-production, gentlemen, we're going to start with line number 1, the starting forward, and we will start with the center. Now, over the last 40 years, we have been blessed with centers.
Yes.
Very.
Unlike other
Much
positions
so.
on the team, we have had more than our fair share.
Oh, yeah.
Of excellent centers. And the list, in no particular order here, includes Eric Lindros, Claude Giroux, Danny Briere, Keith Primo, Mike Richards, Jeff Carter, Rod Brindamore, Sean Couturier, Jeremy Roenick, and Dave Poulin.
Wow.
That's quite a list, and we've got to
I
pick
would say.
one to be our starting center. I think the
well-
starting center is probably easy, but
Yeah. No, I would agree with your sentiment there, Steve. Lindros, for me, and it doesn't matter
John.
what year in the early '90s. Lindros.
Yeah,
Well, I would think MVP here probably
Yeah.
94, 95.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hart
Oh, it is.
Lindros.
When he was the best player in hockey, by far.
Yeah.
All right, so that was, yes, okay, that was too easy. Whittling down the additional centers, I think, would be problematic.
Yeah,
to say the
exactly.
least. So why don't we go left wing for the top line as our next position? Left wings, we struggled a little bit to come up with enough names to have to weed some people out, I think. The names we came up with ultimately are Brian Propp, Simone Gagne, John LeClaire, Scott Hartnell, Sammy Kapanen, Travis Konechny, and Scotty Upshaw, who I think was a John pick. So Matt went first on center. John, we'll go to you first for left wing. Who's on Lindros's left here?
I'm gonna go with his former line mate. Gonna go John LeClaire as his left.
John
wing.
LeClaire. Matt?
Yeah.
100% agree. Got to put them together. Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't have them on two separate lines.
No, I completely agree. And you're talking 3-time 50-goal scorer John LeClaire, who scored those 50 goals with Lindros as his center. So
yeah, exactly.
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, so it'll be interesting to fill in the right side then, because I think I know who might be favored here, but there are, I would think, better names. So the right wing candidates we have are Tim Kerr, Mark Recchi, Jake Voracek, Rick Tocchet, Wayne Simmons, Michael Renberg, Mike Knuble, and Ilka Sinisalo.
Look at that name.
Who I think was a Matt addition.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Potentially.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
So Matt, who do you like on Lindros's right side here?
Well, I mean, it has to be Michael Renberg, because the Legion of Doom line, gents, was the line that got us single-handedly to the Stanley Cup final. I mean, they were just incredibly dominant. In fact, I'm going to throw up video here and on the screen or a link to the video on our screen of Legion of Doom highlights. I mean, they were just flat out dominant against Montreal. I think it was, where they had 13 points combined, 16 or something 16. Or other. Yeah. So Renberg. Without a doubt, in my mind.
And to my surprise, but before the Legion of Doom, I didn't see yesterday in '94 he had 38 goals. Renberg.
Yeah,
I never thought he got that many goals. That's impressive.
No. That's very
John.
impressive,
What do you say on the right side here?
There's so many.
Take your time. We don't have all day or anything.
I'm gonna have to agree with Matt, because I can't come up with a case that works well enough. I can see the guys I want on the other lines, but I don't think they fit as well with LeClaire and Lindros.
I initially thought, well, why wouldn't you put Tim Kerr there? Another 50-goal scorer. But to me, he and LeClaire are very similar. And I think you need more of a complement to that rather than a duplicate. And so I agree. I think we put Renberg and reunite the Legion of Doom as the top line for this all-time or all 40-year Flyers team.
There you go.
Remember, folks, nobody from the 70s, because this is 83 and on. No complaints.
We are well aware that they were good.
Love it.
But we did not witness with our own eyes, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right, moving to the second line then. All right, let's get our second line center. John, what do you think for second line center?
My captain, Claude Giroux. Absolutely.
Oh.
All right. Matt?
Yeah, I tend to agree. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think I'm trying to even think of a prime year for him, but I mean, there was a couple of years ago where he had a 100-point season, for a bad Flyers team, and I take that Claude Giroux any day, to be perfectly honest. And then he was a young kid in 2010, and coming of age, in the Cup final. I mean, he was amazing back then. And
it was also 2012.
Yeah, 2012 as well. Yeah, I mean the shift against Crosby. Come on.
Yep.
So yeah, Giroux.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go with Giroux. That 100-point season, I feel like he got robbed MVP as well. Taylor Hall won it for a bad Devils team, but okay. All right. So Matt, who do you want to put on the left side with Claude Giroux?
This is tough. I'm looking, because there's some great left wingers here, even though the list is small, but
short.
But there are some great guys. Yeah, some great ones. And I'm looking at it, and I think the eye test, Simon Gagne on that second line with Claude Giroux would be amazing. I think because Giroud is a playmaker in the middle of that ice, and you give it to a goal scorer. And Simon Gagne was an amazing goal scorer, guy. Very underrated throughout the entire NHL, and really should not have been. He was one of the best goal scorers in the league. And a lot of people just was like, he's Simon Gagne. You're thinking like, no. Look up his stats. His stats were really, really good. So I would nominate Gagne there.
Probably
second
peak
line with Giroud.
Forsberg, you think?
Mhm.
Yeah. 06?
Yeah,
Easily,
That
yeah.
Gagne?
Easily, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. All right, John, you agree with that, or do you have a different name in mind?
No, I'm definitely on board with Giroud and Gagne playing together.
All right.
There you
I'll
go.
complete,
All right, I can see that.
complete the line that I actually want to see. I would pay big money to see throw
Ooh,
Mark Recchi
all right.
on that line. I want to see that line
Ooh,
play.
Mark Recchi.
The top. That line to me, that's hockey right there. That's my style of hockey.
And
That's
we're
a-
talking, what, 92?
Yeah.
Flyers record 123 points,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Recchi?
yeah, and that puts me over the top for Recchi. Steve, that line would be amazing, John. To be honest with you, Gagne with Giroud and Recchi. Good God,
Could you
almighty, that
imagine
would be
those three
unbelievable.
barreling down on two defensemen? It would just not be fair.
Yeah.
Especially after the Legion of Doom was done just kicking your ass in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. I like this so far. These are
Yeah.
two really good lines. So
Yeah.
third line. I guess this is Matt's turn to pick a center. What do you
Yeah,
say for the
this-
third line here?
Again, really deep, and I'm back and forth between Primo and Brindamore. I think I've got to have both of them,
Ooh.
but I would want to have Primo over Brindamore. Although, now I'm second guessing myself because I'm thinking like Brindamore in that 92 run, like 91, 92, when he was like the lone all-star representative. That was a hell of a year too. No, I would
But
probably
if we took 2004 playoff run, Keith Primo.
see, that's the thing. Yeah, I think on top of that,
If we could
you
get
got
that.
good. Yeah, and I mean, Primo wasn't a guy that was. I don't think he was a 100-point guy. I could be wrong. But I
not with
don't
the
think
Flyers.
not with the Flyers.
I don't know about his Detroit or Hartford or Carolina.
But that
definitely not
oh
with the
my
Flyers.
gosh, I would have to. I think that would lean me more if I'm going between Primo Brindamore again. Real close, but I'm going to put Primo over the top just because of the 04 run itself in the playoffs and the fact that he was just. I mean, he was phenomenal player, phenomenal
All right,
center.
John, what say you? Third line center.
I'm struggling over here because I got 3 for the final 2 spots.
I have another
Mhm.
one in mind as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Primo, definitely love Primo. Brindamore,
Mm.
I could say, especially your third line. That dude, nobody's scoring
Yeah.
when he's out there. Like, he was
No.
just such a good checking center.
Great,
But
absolutely.
they're the other guy, my absolute favorite guy is Danny Briere because I get the scoring and the defense.
Yeah. And that was another guy.
I don't think Briere is the defensive type.
No, but he was just in his prime. He was just good at everything he did. That's why he just stands out to me as because I'll get the goal scoring, and he wasn't a schlub in other categories at all.
He was not. He was not.
Ooh.
Pulling up his stats here.
So
yeah.
Matt's got Primo, John's got Briere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got, Steve? What are you thinking?
For third line center, I'm going to side with John and go with Briere
Okay.
to get scoring punch on that third line.
No
And
argument here.
Briere is different than I think both Lindros and Giroux. Lindros could score, obviously, so could Giroux, but they were both primarily setup guys.
Playmakers, yeah.
Whereas Briere is not a setup center; he is a finishing center.
Yeah.
And so we ought to keep that in mind as we give him his wings,
Oh,
because you're probably going to want setup guys on the wings rather than scorers.
Yeah.
So, John, you go first. A left winger for Danny Briere on line number 3.
I put him with Brian Propp.
Look at that.
For a reason. For a reason, if I can get my right
Because
wing,
of the defense.
I will have, I think, the perfect third line that I want to see.
I mean,
Matt, what do you think?
well, looking at him, yeah, I couldn't disagree. I mean, he leads the, his plus minus was outstanding, and paired alongside Briere, I think would be an amazing 1-2 combination on that, especially on that left side. You get the scoring touch of both. Briere, I think, was a little bit quicker skater than Propp was, but Propp just had a great knack on defense. He was not a guy that you're going to be scored upon when he's on the ice. Period.
Who did he mainly play with as a center because you guys are both older than me, and who remember this? Who was like his center?
Great question. I want to say it was Propp and Poulin all the time. I think it was Dave Poulin and Brian Propp together. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
and they were two of they were a great dynamic duo. Both of them were. They found each other all over the place in the ice. Didn't matter where, especially on the offensive side of the ice. It was amazing. Those two together were tremendous. Yeah.
All right, we got Briere centering Propp, and on the right side, what do you say, Matt?
I'm looking at that list. Part of me goes Tocchet. Part of me goes Tim Kerr. I'm thinking Ilka, kind of like, that's kind of cool. There's Ilka in there.
I knew you put him on there for a reason.
But Timmy Kerr, though, with those numbers, I mean, I remember when we were doing the tournament, guys, Tim Kerr's stats, I remember I told you guys, like, how many goals he was scoring in his career. It was like 54, 58, 54, 58 or something like that, or for 4 consecutive years. And it's like, I can't give that up if I'm on the right side. And he got killed. He got beaten up to death in the slot. But boy, could he score goals! And he was leading Tim Kerr on the right side.
All right, line. John, what do you got there?
He's the perfect foil to the plan that I have for the goal. He's the guy that stands in front of the net while Propp and Briere just shoot all day. Yeah. It's exactly
fair point.
Perfect. He's perfect for those two.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll put in Tim Kerr, Danny Briere, Brian Propp. Interesting.
That's a good line.
Quick guy in the middle with a couple of big boys on the sides. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So fourth line center now to close out the forward line. This is John. You go first.
Gotta go Primo. He's got to make the team. The 04 run. End of story.
Yeah.
Matt? Primo?
Tend to agree. Yeah. Maybe Roenick, but I mean, you need that second tower. I mean, that's what made that team so cool. Even though it really didn't last all that long, but it was a great thought experiment by Clark, really, to put two guys, both 6'4", that can skate with a puck. And he was a tremendous leader, so yeah, it would be Primo for me.
So we've got two giants at center and two small guys at center.
Yeah.
Well-rounded.
My 4 favorite centers.
There you go. So let's see, Matt, left wing to pair with Primo.
So I'm looking at it, and Hartnell, I think, from a sentimental, falling down guy would be hilarious alongside Keith Primo. That would be great. Kapanen, though, he was one of my favorites. He's definitely one of my favorites. I think Upshaw and Konechny. Konechny's kind of getting there, but yeah, kind of sort of.
He can be. He can be. I think he's not there yet.
He's not there yet, and
I
Upshaw
think Schwartz can get him there.
Yeah, I think so too. Upshaw, kind of, sort of the same way.
Yeah.
We needed
similar
names.
player. You know what? I'm going to lean Hartnell just because I want.
Okay.
Well, you need somebody that just cut. He's a great locker room dude, and he would just. You get him with a beer in his hand, it'd be hilarious. So I throw Scotty Hartnell in there. Why not? On the fourth line.
What do you say, John?
He's perfect for Keith Primo. and for the
Good.
right wing choice, all these boys can throw. So when you need to get a little frisky in the corner,
a little
there.
down and dirty. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you got? What do you got?
Got Rick Tocchet as your fourth.
Oh boy!
Wow.
Hell yeah!
Oh, that is a
Twice,
pound you
tours
line.
of 2 tours of duty where he beat people up.
Yeah, but you talking 80s Tocchet, I'm with you right there,
Oh, yeah.
Johnny.
Oh yeah, you get the scoring of the '80s Tocchet and
With
just
the
the
fighting?
nastiness, because he was nasty when he was younger.
Yeah. He sure was.
Turned into more
That
of a
is-
fighter later on in his career, but when he was young, man, he could do it all.
He could do it
That
all.
is a potent and belligerent fourth line, I must say.
That's how I like my fourth lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo, I like that
Yeah.
fourth line.
No, I
That's
get
awesome.
too. I'm with you. Yeah, on that.
I gotta load that up
Beauty.
on a video game and just NHL 2000 whatever, just beat
Yeah.
the crap out of people that touch the puck.
That's awesome.
Take
All
a
right,
hit
so
here, take a
moving-
hit here.
Love it.
Moving to
Love
the
it.
defense now. We got 3 defense lines to fill out.
Okay.
Our defense listing, again in no particular order, we have Mark Howe, Eric Desjardins, Kimmo Timonen, Chris Therien, Ivan Provorov, Shane Gostisbehere, Brad Marsh, Luke Richardson, Braden Coburn, Travis Sanheim, Mark Streit, Kerry Huffman, Dan McGillis, and Darian Hatcher. And Matt, for you, I will throw in Terry Carker.
There you go.
I was just going to say, could you guys imagine if we had Chris Pronger for 3 years? Gosh, that would.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Oh god.
Yeah, that was it was tough cutting him off the list because of the time served.
it
unfortunately.
sure
That
was.
was the plan.
Yeah.
That was the plan to have him for more than 3 years.
Well,
Oh, it would
Yeah,
have been good.
absolutely. Yeah.
Eats
Yeah.
40
mean,
minutes.
I
up.
don't-
Oh.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's any coincidence that the team started to go downhill after Pronger
Yeah.
was injured.
No doubt. No doubt about that. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. I guess Matt, it's your turn.
Yeah. I guess.
Give me
I-
a pair. Give me a pair, and then we'll see if John agrees with that pair.
Okay. So I mean, just because they were together for so many years, Desjardins and Therien, I think would be tremendous top pair. I can't putting. I mean, I could also see Mark Howe and Desjardins together.
It's a lot of scoring.
That is a lot of scoring from the two of them. I would, yeah. You know what? Howe Desjardins for my top pair. D.
All right, John, do you agree with that?
Eek. I would more think Desjardins, Howell, and another guy, and then put the big guys with them.
Hmm.
I gotta go Terry.
You mean split up?
Yeah.
You mean split up Howe and
I gotta go-
Desjardins? Okay.
Terry and Desjardins, because I need a defensive guy, because he's going to be playing with the Legion of Doom, and there's really only one defensive player on the ice at that time, and that's going to be Terry. And can't have everybody in the offensive zone.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of a 5-man cycle with Howe and Desjardins. That would be a hell of a thing.
One
Yeah.
missed pass, poor goalie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, all right. So we unanimously agree that Desjardins needs to be on the top pair.
Absolutely.
So it comes down to Howe or Therien.
I mean,
I'm going to go with Matt and the scientific experiment here.
Okay.
A disturbing 5-man unit of immense scoring capabilities.
Something we've never
Desjardins
had.
and Howe are not.
Yeah.
Desjardins and Howe are not the types to miss passes either.
No,
No.
not very often.
So I see no reason not to put two of our greatest. And Howe, I mean, neither Howe or Desjardins they're offensive defensemen, but they're not like Mike Green style.
No, they're not terrible. Yeah, they're not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I'm going to go with Matt and go Howe Desjardins there.
Nice.
There you go.
All right, John. Give me a second pairing. What are you thinking?
Then I got to go Chemo for the second pairing to start, because I like him. And if we're looking at bring Coburn into it with Tiemann. That would be fun.
That was a pair back in the 08, 09, back when Coburn still had a one-time shot. Yeah.
Yes. Let's go with those two as the two.
You get speed coming out on a defense too. I would tend to agree. I think Chemo and Coburn seem to would mesh very well together. And you get a second defensive, essentially like Desjardins was a defensive coach out there, and then you have Tiemann, who I didn't mention this when we were doing the turn. I'll say it now. Tiemann was this generation's Eric Desjardins. Really, if you stop to think about it, he was that
I
good
could see that.
of a defenseman. Yeah. So yeah, Coburn with
all right, Chemo and Coburn. All right. So back to Matt for throw out a third pair here.
So you need
defense is another position where we struggle a little bit when we get into depth with stars.
Yeah, I was just going to say you kind of need a little grit here, and
I would agree.
I look at the bottom of that list. Dan McGillis and Darian Hatcher could just beat the absolute crap out of everybody. And I would put them together in a heartbeat on that line. Similar to kind of like where you have like that fourth line where you got Hartnell, Primo, and Tocchet together. You got a McGillis and Hatcher. You're walking away with a lot of bruises basically at the end of that game. I mean, no question about it.
Interesting pair, John.
Yeah.
I have to throw Hatcher. I totally agree with him, but I have to throw Terrian in there because he can't be off the list. I could have a Flyers team without McGillis, but I can't have a Flyers team without Chris Terrian.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So I'm going to. Hatcher is obviously in because you guys already voted. Matt has McGillis. John has Terrian. I actually had a different guy to throw in there with Hatcher.
Interesting.
Luke Richardson.
Ooh, interesting. Oh yeah.
I would have thought Luke Richardson would have been a nice
another beat him up.
Yeah, so why don't we let's do this, because you're going to have guys sitting in the press box. You have a seventh defenseman usually. Why not have a seventh and eighth? So we'll have all three of those guys in.
Okay.
We'll have Terrian, McGillis, and Richardson all make the team. And they can just be interchangeable with Hatcher on that third defense.
There you go.
Breaking the rules here on Two Noobs.
There you go. But if we had to make a start, I think I probably would lean with John, though, with Terrian. And, Darian Hatcher, yeah. We had to make a start.
Huge 6 foot. McGillis was not tall.
No.
Hatcher and Terrian are both 6'5", I believe.
Like, but boy, could he hit. Oh, my gosh, he could hit.
Yeah, big time. The hit he had on a Finneganoff in the playoffs that one year was phenomenal.
Yikes.
Yeah. I don't know how he got up after that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so John, to you for our starting goaltender.
Oh man,
and the candidates. This is where we really struggle.
Yeah,
yes.
The candidates are Hexy, Bush, Steve Mason, Nitamaki, Carter Hart, Esch, Brian Elliott, and Matt's favorite Roman Czechmanek.
My boy.
There you go.
Who, despite Matt's hatred, had pretty good stats.
Playoffs.
I must say. It wasn't bad.
Playoffs.
Was not bad. I would. No. You had him in the 2010 run. You probably win the cup. Just with those numbers.
Keep telling yourself that, Steve. Go ahead. Keep telling yourself that.
All right, John. Who is your starting goalie?
Because we get the best of him, his rookie season, I want Ron Hextall. Because not only was he the best goalie that year, he was also an amazing guy that could hang out with the fourth line and handle business if needed.
Yeah.
So
nothing like getting your goalies to join your fights.
Game, yes, if we get into another Ottawa game, we're fine.
Plus, you got him with the banging of the sticks up against the his stick up against the post every time. I mean, my God. Yeah,
hey, rookie John with Gretzky. I gotta agree with John.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would agree. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it's like I remember him when the Flyers weren't all that good in the late 80s, early 90s. He was not very good either. But that 87 Cup run, man, he was magical. He took that team to within a game of the Stanley Cup final almost won it in Edmonton. I mean, they did run out of gas. I'm convinced
On
they
his
did run out
back,
of gas.
he did it.
Yeah, and he was phenomenal. I mean, coming in off of Lindbergh's death, being placed in that position, and he was Vezina. I think he won the Vezina. I think, if I remember,
he won the Conn Smythe. I thought
Conn Smythe. That's what it was.
as the losing goalie, which is rare.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
Yeah,
so Hextall.
I agree.
Yeah,
87 Hexy for sure. Just don't want him as my GM.
No, absolutely not.
Backup goalie. Who's backing up Hexy here?
You know, I gotta go with Carter Hart. It's the first time that the Flyers have had a legit number one goalie in 20 years. And he's young. He would spell Ron Hextall. I think probably the prime would be probably the bubble year, year 2019-20. And I think for him, I think it would be really cool to have it, showing the respect, obviously, because I'm looking at the other guys. It's like, it could be Boucher, Steve Mason was also pretty good as well. Ash was famous for having 2x4s in his.
That's Garth Snow. That's
Garth Snow. That's right.
That's
right. Although Ash had some questionable equipment as well, if I remember right.
Oh yeah.
And Czech Monik's he shouldn't even be on this list, but that's all right. I'll live.
Man, stats.
Yeah, whatever.
John, do you agree? Carter Hart.
I gotta go Boucher because of the McFarlane toy year with the save with the helmet flying off. I want that Boucher because he was
2000.
I don't have to have the career. I only get the year. I need to have Boucher.
Right.
Was he on 2010? He was on the 2010 team, right? Boucher?
He was. Yes.
That's what I thought.
But he got hurt in the Boston series, which is why Leighton had to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was unfortunate because I think if Boucher finishes, who knows about that 7-gamer, but if Boucher is his normal self goaltending, we get at least decent goaltending in that series, we win.
Yeah, exactly.
In 2010. So that's tough. Boucher or Hart?
I like them both.
Yeah, I do too.
I'll go with John and go Bouch.
No issues there
because he was good that year in 2000.
Was it?
He legitimately won the starting role from Beezer and
that save on Elias that save on Elias where he's to John's point. Yeah.
That was the same year as the 5 overtime game. He hung in for 5 overtimes against Yager. And a pretty damn good Penguins team that year.
And there were times in that game where the Penguins were teeing off on him. Later in the game, it wasn't that it was just Flyers were not in control of that game the whole time.
No,
exactly.
Not at all.
Yeah,
not at all. All right, so now to the coaches. John, this was your baby.
Yeah,
there you go. Pick a coach. We got Mike Keenan, Dave Haxtell, Peter Laviolette, Ken Hitchcock, Terry Murray, Paul Holmgren, and John Stevens are the candidates who are the only candidates who served more than 3 years. And the fact I was going to bring up earlier about the coaching, in the 40 years that is the span for this little thing we're doing, the Flyers have had 19 coaches. So each coach is averaging about a little more than 2 years of service.
Oh my gosh.
A little disturbing.
Yikes.
Yeah. A little bit. Yeah.
So John, which of these beloved candidates do you pick as the coach of our just absolutely disgustingly talented Flyers 40-year team?
Yikes. I'm going to go with my favorite coach, and very similar to the coach we have now. I'm going with Ken Hitchcock because I can get great press conferences, and I can get that, and I can get the coach that just grades on this team that calls a bunch of Hall of Famers, shitty players, and really gets the best out of them.
Yeah,
this is my favorite time in Flyers hockey when he was behind the bench. He was a good soundbite.
No doubt. No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Matt, what do you think? Coach?
I mean, when I was started to fall in love with the Flyers, it was in the 80s. That dates me a little bit. Sorry about that. But Mike Keenan, to me, was the coach of the greatest era outside of Lindros, but yeah, one of the greatest eras in Flyers history in the 80s. And when I was looking at stats, guys, I mean, you know, that team was talented, yes, up and down the roster, but I mean, he was consistent in his winning percentage. It was always at 620 something or other winning percentage. I'll have to look that up and verify that. But yeah, Mike Keenan would be my pick.
Talk about some of the greats on his players.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he drove them too. You know, that kind of a deal. But yeah.
Well,
I have no issues with either of them.
None.
I'm going to go with Matt. Keenan, I think, was excused for reasons other than his stats.
Oh yeah.
Because he just consistency. All these other guys kind of had a moment and then sort of dipped, which is why they had to get run out of town. Other than Hackstall, who really never had anything.
Yeah.
And he's only on this list because he's, again, one of the few who have actually coached and probably fairly shouldn't have.
Somehow held on.
For GM Hextall. Yeah, somehow held on.
Exactly.
So I'll go with Mike Keenan on that as well.
There you go.
And there you have it. Our Flyers 40-year team. That's a hell of a team, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
Flash all of the lines here up on screen. Yeah. I think probably the best line outside of the Legion of Doom, gents, it's got to be that second line, right? I mean, it was Giroux, Gagne, and Recchi. I mean, that's just an unbelievable line. All in their primes. God, that just, I don't even know what to even say with regards to that. It's just, that'd be magic on the ice.
That's a hell of a line.
Yeah.
But my popcorn is for that fourth line, man.
Yeah,
holy
that
crap. Fourth line is going to be entertaining as shit.
Oh, heck
my
yeah.
God.
Yeah. Back end looks pretty good, too. I mean, you got Desjardins and Howell, of course, on defense, and then you got Tiemann and Coburn reuniting a little bit there, and then the third line pair. It could be like a beat 'em up, you know, rock'em sock'em robots type of deal back there. And
with Danny Briere squeezed in the middle somehow.
Yes.
The third defensive pair.
Yeah, the third defensive pair. But I mean, they would defend them. I mean,
but they could be out with Briere.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you need guys to protect your stars, man.
And we're just going for the Briere. That's just a tee it off time. That's just two guys taking pot shots for the top of the circles, and one guy dodging them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe getting a stick on a couple of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right. Well, that's it, guys. That ends episode 114 of Two Noobs Talk. And as always, it's great to be able to sit and chat with you about the news of the day and doing other things as well, the serious and the funny, which is great. And it's on to 115 next week. And you know what? We're getting close to the end of the year, too. So look out for a best of Two Noobs during the Christmas holiday season.
Oh no, it's a clip show.
It's a clip show.
No. Oh no. What will we do?
Yeah, exactly. Well, until then, gents, and until then, everybody, have a great week, and we'll look for you next week. Take care. Hey, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Two Noobs Talking. Not only is Two Noobs here on YouTube, but you can also find us on your favorite podcast listening platforms, such as iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, and Samsung Podcast, among others. Until then, see you next week with another episode of Two Noobs Talking. Take care.